Okay, so we're back. Rhonda says she can hear now. Yay! Alright, trying to fix the camera because it got bumped in the whole process. Okay. Deep breath. Let's try this again, shall we? Hi, Rhonda. Thanks for being here. Thanks for telling me I had no sound. Alright, so you didn't hear any of what I said before. So, what I was saying before, when you couldn't hear me, this is the last stamp of the month that Close to My Heart is putting out. It is April. The thin cuts are no longer available, unfortunately, but the stamp set itself is. And really, these guys wouldn't be that hard to cut out. The leaves maybe, and the individual flower maybe, but these little guys, they're adorable. So, and you don't have to cut them out. You could put them on something that you're not cutting out. But anyway, we are using them for the first card. And what else I also said was that everything currently is on clearance. So if there's anything that you wanted, now would be the time to get it before it disappears forever. And while normally this class is all about things that you can currently get, with the speed at which things are disappearing off of the shelves, I don't know that I could keep up with that and still have a card for you ready to go at the time of the video. Well, 3 cards for that matter. So I will be using Close to My Heart products that have been here throughout the years. There will be current papers mixed in with current and old stamps. Yeah, and so that's kind of my working theory going forward. And so hopefully you guys will enjoy them and be inspired to use what you have and get crafty. So I have already cut and colored these guys. Just to save a little bit of time. I know watching somebody else color isn't necessarily the most fun thing to do. And so yeah, these are some of the colors I used. Like, I know that I used these 3. Okay. But I used a variety of these browns. I couldn't even tell you which ones. So these are the ones that I did grab. Ooh. So just so you can see that. And then these are the other 3 that I used. All right, so we have a fun fold card that is actually super easy to do. It might not look like it, but I promise that it is. So we are going to use a 5x12 piece. We are going to need to cut a smidge of this off, but I will show you how to do that here in just a little bit. And then we have a 2x12 piece. All of these are 5 inches, and we have 2 that are 1.5, one that is 1 3/4, and then one that is 2 inches. So all of them are 5 inches tall, or they're supposed to be anyway. Why is that one short? Oh, because they're not supposed to be 5 inches tall. That's right. They are supposed to be 4 3/4 inches tall. Not 5 inches tall. Well, that one's the right size. All right, my apologies. 4 3/4 inches tall. There we go. 1 1/2, 1 1/2, 1 3/4, 2. Okay. Rhonda says she has this stamp set. Hooray! Okay, so our pieces. They're both 12 inches long, right? So you will just need that full 12 inches. And so your glacier piece, if you were using all the same things I am, so these pieces are the Gnomes for Spring. This is glacier and this is honey butter. All right, we are going to use our stylus. Mine are already scored because I was kitting them up before the class, and so obviously they're not going to fit in the envelope at 12 inches. So on our 12-inch glacier piece, we're going to score that at 7 inches. On our honey butter, we are going to score this at 2 1/4, 3 1/2, 5 1/4, 6 3/8, and 8 1/8. Okay, 2 1/4, 3 1/2, 5 1/4, 6 3/8, and 8 1/8. If you would like, you could probably drop this, extend it, whatever, to 6 1/2 and 8 1/4. If you are getting a kit from me, it's already scored, so you don't need to worry about that. It is folded like this, which is not how you're going to use it, obviously, but again, I needed to be able to fit it into the envelope. The other thing that you can do, so these are currently scored all in the same direction. We are going to mountain and valley fold them. So if you wanted to flip over your piece and then do the second score line, so 3 1/2 and 8 1/8, so they're going the correct way, you can do that. You do not need to do that, but you can do that. All right, so we have 2 rectangles. Well, they're all rectangles. We have 2 rectangles on either end. One is larger than the other. We are going to start with the smaller end. And I was just about to do this kind of in the wrong order, so let's correct that. And let's do some gluing first. Now, we are not going to do the 2-inch piece first. We're going to set that aside. We're going to do that almost last. All right, so let's flip over these other pieces and add our glue. What in the world? No, a little cardstock. A little cardstock hair. Okay. I had to make sure that I was doing the right thing here. Nope. Yes. Goodness gracious. Man, that whole microphone thing not working just really threw my brain for a loop. Alright, so we are going to put our 2-inch piece, which has our clouds on it, if you got the kit. And if you didn't get the kit, you can cut it. Alright, we are using the clouds. And you can use the light side or the dark side, whichever gives you more cookies. Ha ha ha. Okay. So this piece will go here, but we're not gluing that yet. Okay, we will, but not just yet. So we want to put the plaid down next, so we're going to skip one and then add one. And then again, skip one and then add one. Okay, now we're gonna fold. So let's move this off to the side. So we're gonna make the first fold a mountain fold. We're going to flip that over and make a valley fold. Flip that over again, make a mountain fold. Do you have to flip it? No. Nope. You don't have to. I just find it easier. So we're going to flip again and do a valley fold. And then one more time into a mountain fold. Okay, so you can see here we have a little bit of extra. So technically we need to cut this off, but I like to make sure that it actually lines up, because sometimes our folds don't fold where we intend them to. And so I'm going to cut it off so it lines up exactly. So if you do get a kit, you will need to do the same. And sometimes they don't quite fold straight either, and so that will play a small part in things. See, that front was not quite lined up. But that's okay. All right, next is our glacier piece. So as it's cut, you can bring it all the way down to the bottom, right? And it'll line up here, and that makes this card 7 inches by 5 inches. When you put this piece on and center it, you can then see this piece underneath. So if you wanted to, you could trim that a little bit before or after you glue it down, assuming you don't glue all the way down to the edge. But before we get to that point, we need to mark some things. So we have everything flat. We have this piece kind of bookmarked around the whole card, right? So it's all the way to the very back and all the way to the very front. So we are going to open it and grab our pencil, and we're going to make just a couple of super light marks. We're going to close it, keeping everything in place. We're going to flip it over and do the same thing on the front, except that we don't want to mark all the way up here because we're not gluing all the way up there. We need to trying to make sure nothing moves. Oh, and it moved. There we go. So we need to come down to this first layer and make a mark, or 2 marks. Okay, so I have two very light marks. Where are they? They're so light I missed them. So we have them here and here, and then here and here. Okay, so we are going to take our glue and we're going to come down a little bit. So we think our line, well, we can see our line is right here that we measured. But we can already see that pencil mark when it's on the card, right? Because obviously we can't draw past where the card is. So we want to scoot down just a little bit, and then you want to scoot down just a little bit more, right? So I know it sounds strange, but trust me, it's what you want to do. And remember, if you want to cut off that little sliver at the bottom, don't put your glue all the way to the bottom. Just do it kind of close. All right, so we are putting glue on both ends. Now the back side, you can put glue all the way to the bottom. Do not inadvertently close it and seal it. Okay, okay. So now you can do this left or right. My sample card is to the right, so I'm going to go ahead and move it to the left. I know you haven't seen the sample card yet, and that's okay. I will show you both of them at the very end. Alright, so we have this pressed down. It's attached. We're going to flip that over, lay everything flat, and just kind of hold it down with one hand up here, because this likes to kind of pull up when you're sliding your finger down, right? You probably can't see, but it comes up off the table. That will affect how it opens. So we are going to put a white piece back here. If you would like, you can shorten this piece so it doesn't interfere with the writing as much as this might. It wouldn't be a bad idea. Okay. Which I clearly don't have that piece, so I have to cut that piece. Not a problem. So we have this cut shorter just so it saves us a little bit of paper, right? We don't need to have paper that isn't going to be seen, right? So I do want to cut this. I am going to mark it, and I did mean to go and erase those marks before I glued on, and I did not, and that's okay. All right, so I'm just going to grab my scissors, and this doesn't have to be particularly pretty because it's going to be covered up. The only way somebody's going to see it is if they literally take your card apart. Right? Which I don't think anybody's going to do. I mean, they might, but that would be kind of weird. Alright, for the striped piece, I'm actually putting the green stripe at the top because it's paper. Your piece may not, if you're getting a kit from me, your piece may not have that green at the top. I cannot guarantee that it does, but if it does, that was my theory, was putting the green to be grass at the top. Hopefully that makes sense. Alright, so we are going to attach these guys on here. We're going to put some foam tape here, and then a few more pieces up here. Actually, we're not going to put one where the flower is, but we will put one here, kind of where his ear is. Okay, give everything just a quick press and make sure that it's attached. Press it down and voila, a little hedgehogs. And then we're going to put this guy kind of back here. He's coming to join the party. I do want to make sure that his feet are not sitting above this yellow of the card base. I want to make sure they're tucked in just a little bit, maybe even all the way up to his waist. I don't know. Anyway, that is what we're doing. I meant to pay attention to what that meant on the back side. So we're going below his ears. And kind of like that. So, we do need a sentiment. I did not get that part done, but this is how the card sits. It is a faux stair step card. And it does fit in a 5x7 envelope. So just to show you, I have a 5x7 envelope right here. And we'll grab this and we'll just see, it just fits in there perfectly. It does have, you know, a little bit of bulk to it, but it's not too bad. Oh, we need our white piece as well. So we need 4 3/4 by 3 1/4. And that will just go right on the back. So if you wanted to, you could cut another piece of the okay, clearly I measured something wrong. So we want 3 1/8. And I forgot what else I was saying before, so I do apologize. Oh yeah, you can put the cloud paper, you can put another piece of it on the back side if you'd like. And then you would not have just plain cardstock along the back side. Nope, that one's done. Much better. 3 1/8. You know what, let's do You know what, we could do one of each of these guys. Right? We have 2 cards. So I can show you both. Okay, so we need something to stamp on. We need our archival black ink. Oh, and if you guys haven't seen, I don't know if it's still there, but there were 2 new colors released today. One is Frost and one is Sea Salt. They were going to be 2 of the new colors come Frost and Sea Salt. But they were going to be the new colors come August, and that is not happening now, so they are releasing them now. So I say I don't know if they're still there because I don't know if they have sold out yet or not. All right, here we go. Stamping directly on the card after it's already done. Yay! Not only did it turn out good, it's even straight. Ha ha ha. This one's kind of nice that it automatically pops, but I'm not sure if I glued the original down straight. That one might have smudged a little bit. It did, and it didn't stamp very well. So, let's I want to say this one, but I don't know if that sentiment will fit on here. That should cover. All right, let's close that so we don't have any accidents. That would be terrible. We will grab from our drawer of scraps. Do you guys have a drawer of scraps, or how do you keep your white scraps? Oh, I'm going to add to this after I get it cut. Perfect idea. Okay. My Scotch tape ran out, so I have my washi on my just regular tape dispenser. So many things are just not where they're supposed to be. See, it's a good thing that I did the coloring. I guess I'd probably have to do one or the other regardless. I'd probably still have to color. It cut off. It is what it is. All right, let's grab this little daisy. It does not fit on that book. And my thought is just to have it just like that. Beautiful. And then we can line that up just like that. We could move it this way a little bit, but then something would be peeking out up there. So none of that. I mean, the plus side is it then fills in those letters that went down a little bit further than I wanted to. So that is how we fix a misstamping. So here we have, again, our faux stair step card. So these again are 5 by 7 in size. They fit perfectly in an envelope. All right, next. We will do this guy. So, I did not. So, this is our card. It's super fun. I had a blast making it, and I need to actually put a sentiment on the inside as well. So, the stamps that I'm using today for this card is All the Best Wishes, and we're using It's Your Day and either Thinking of You or Happy Birthday on the inside, or maybe Celebrate. You tell me what you think. And then we are also using Perfectly Imperfect Patterns for our little swoosh here. Okay, and then, let's see. celebrate. It's your day. Celebrate. And then it could still be for anything you want it to be. Thankfully, that one is small enough to fit on this block. What in the world is going on here? Okay. So we are using, we're testing me is what we're doing. Let's see if I can do it actually right on camera this time. Because we're doing obviously rainbow colors again. So we have candy apple, nectarine, lemonade, green apple, bluebird, wisteria, and grape. Okay. All right. Move things out of the way. We also need an envelope. We'll bring this back in. Goodness. We're just going to use some washi and tape this down so that we can move it around easily while we are stamping everything. All right, so let's do our celebrate on the inside. Okay, we need to do that. We need to pick a color. What rainbow color do we want? So I'm going to set that one aside. That will be the inside. So I have here a piece that is 4 by 5 1/4. And then I also need some scraps, like whatever size you would like. And you can do these at the same time. Then you open the ink pads once, or you can do them separately by stamp. Up to you. So it's your day. So we are going to go ahead and stamp this on our scrap. Ooh, we're going to make sure it's inked up all the way first. And if you can stamp it straight across one of the longer lines, that's one less thing that you have to cut out. All right, so we are going to take our ink. I'm actually going to start at the bottom because it is closer to me. I can see it, and that's actually how I did it last time. So we're going to stamp off to the side on one side, and then you can either just re-ink and move over, or you can re-ink and turn around, which is what I'm going to do. So that we spread out our little splotch guy. If we did it just one splotch, right, and I have some of these cut out already, obviously this is the wrong color, but if we just put that down, you wouldn't be able to see it because it's not big enough. So we need to make it a little bit bigger. Here, let's move these here. move this. We'll do moving of a little bit of everything here. All right, and then let's go ahead and also stamp our envelope. Okay. I need my sprayer. All right. Just a stained washcloth. It is. You definitely want to clean your stamp between every use. All right, so I am not going to keep stamping It's Your Day because I do already have them stamped and cut out, but we do still need to do the card front and the envelope. So move that over here. We're going to make sure it's dry before we do anything. And then we're going to just line up on the left and right edge ish. It does not have to be perfect. It's supposed to look like a splash, right? So oh, Rhonda's yelling at me. I can hear her. Oh no. I thought I was on the mat. I was not. Okay. I'll clean that again. And I just clap it against my hand to dry it off. Obviously it's not dripping wet. So you are essentially going to stamp each splotchy swish 3 times. Let's just put it right back down there. Alright, so we have done candy apple, nectarine, and lemon. So this one is green apple. The good news is this is one of the most forgiving cards because it's supposed to look messy-ish. And if for some reason you manage to drop some color on there or, you know, make a smudge, you can easily grab one of the little paint drops stamps from the same set and make it look intentional. So you guys have to let me know if you actually come back and craft along with me. Like, I know some of you make the projects and whatnot, but do you craft with me, or do you just jot down the notes for the sizes and then craft it on your own? Oh no. Darn it. It's been ages since I've done that. Goodness. So that was Bluebird and Wisteria, and now this is Grape. So yeah, if you do something like that on your project, you can easily go in and add other things to kind of hide it. If you feel like hiding it. Okay, so our envelope is done. Our front is done, so let's put some foam on here. Alright, and just a couple more. Take the backings off. Having a card base would be helpful. A little bit, maybe. Put it on the right way. And then we're just centering it. Let's move that out of the way. Alright, and then you would cut out all your pieces, and then you would have those. And we need to stamp on the inside of our card. Not that way, this way. Celebrate. Honestly, it really could be any of these colors. Let's go with a Bluebird. Here is an idea. Let's do Celebrate in blue and Bluebird, and then let's do the splashes in purple. Wrong stamp. And then just like the front, we will extend our little splash on the inside. And we're going to have the blue pop off of the purple. So I did use thin foam tape for the sentiments on the front, and then regular foam tape for the card front to the card base. And while we don't normally pop things up on the inside of the card, I think this will be adorable. And because it's thin foam, it will be fine. Fun. You could even maybe do a mini ombre with the wisteria and grape, kind of overlap them to make that a little bit bigger for the Celebrate. Okay, so let's go ahead and start with G, green. And then I'm just going to kind of work away from there. Line everything up as we go. And I realize I'm at the very bottom of the screen. And voila. card is complete. So that is card number 2. Last but not least, this one, depending on your choice, you can make a bonus card with it. So the card that we're making, well, we'll make the bonus card too. So this is our card for this time. And just so you can see a little bit closer, there is stamping, so it continues in gray on the background. So I got them stamped. I was actually going to use one for the video, and then I realized that I started coloring with marker when I really wanted to be stamping. So I wanted to show you, you could do it either way. And the stamp, I did some extra stamping with the color because I wanted it to pop a little bit more. But you could color with markers, totally up to you. And then with the process, you will have pieces left over. So if you add a piece of White Daisy, you have a whole second bonus card with a little bit of stamping. So let's go ahead and make these. It does have a few steps, but I promise you can do them. They're pretty easy, and you will love the cards, because there's more than one. Okay, so first things first, what do we need? So if we assume that we're going to go ahead and make both, because it's super easy to do so, what you need are 2 card bases. You need 4 White Daisy pieces that are 4 by 5 1/4. And then 1 White Daisy piece that is 2 3/4 by 4. Okay, and that's it. That's all you need. So let's move the card bases out of the way. And I'm going to go ahead and move these kind of up here so they are out of the way as well. So we have, actually, let's do this piece first so that it can be done. So what I did is I figured out what the size was. I put the stamp on top of it so I could position it. Realized that the stamp goes off either edge ever so slightly, so I could not butt it into the corner like I normally do. And so I took a piece of scrap and put it in, lined this piece up where I needed it to be, where I had plenty of room for the stamps, and then I added a little bit of glue, just some tape runner, on this piece here, so I could tuck that in the corner and I could put this where I needed it to be, which in my case was right at 5 inches. Alright, let's make sure that tape is not on here anymore. This is new. I've not had to do this before. So normally I would use Archival Black, but my ink pad is not staying glued to the inside of the ink pad holder. So if I were to try to flip it over, it would fall and make a giant mess. I do love intense black ink. It, however, does not generally do bold stamps very well. Just make sure everything is lined up again before you stamp down. Beautiful. I'll flip that over and I'll clean that a little bit later. Okay, and then we take our hedgehogs off. So that we can use the flower that we need. Okay. So the stamp sets that we are using, if you didn't notice, I have two different sentiments on here because I couldn't choose which one I liked better, so I just did both. I figured since I had managed to make both or two cards up, I would just keep with it. So this is the May 2020 Stamp of the Month, Time to Celebrate. And so that's where the thank you comes from, down here. The rectangle frames. This was part of one of the Cricut bundles. Maybe Flower Market, maybe before. But Happy Wishes on Your Day is that one. And then this is Bunches of Love. And clearly it was well used. We don't need to go over the sentiments. We're actually not using any of these sentiments. And then You Make Me Smile, and this is the Operation Smile stamp set. $7 of every stamp set purchased goes to Operation Smile. So, wonderful thing. So I am going to cheat a little bit. This is my scratch paper from earlier. And then the other thing that I did was I took my panel, the 4x5 1/4, and I cut out the frame and then I just taped it back on because when I stamped it originally, I didn't get both sides well enough, and so I needed to make sure that I could do that right. So I have stamped it so I can use that as a cheat. I can use this as a cheat and use a sheet protector. You will be able to just put your stamp down on it and then move it to be put it down the right way. There we go. So you want it down as if you would be stamping with it. And then, it doesn't have to be perfect. And then we can take this off and we can bring in our pieces that actually need to be stamped. So we're going to do 2 pieces with linen ink. And you want to make sure that you get a good ink coverage because you do not want to double stamp this. You want this to be somewhat light. You want it to be seen, but it is clearly not taking the spotlight. Okay, and you can see it's in a slightly different position than the first cards, and that's okay. So if you did not want to make that second card, you would not need to ink up a second piece with linen ink. You could skip that step and you could go directly to then inking that same stamp in the same position in your black ink. So if you are coloring, you do want to make sure to use intense black ink. It will help your ink not spread. It won't be picked up with the marker. And if you need to, you can definitely stamp again. Okay. Now we need to turn this around so that we can do all of the stamping again with the things in a different position. So this is what we just stamped, so we need to flip this around, and if you wanted, you could just do the exact same thing on either side. Let's actually go ahead and do that and make things so much easier. So I am going to wash off the stamp. I could have done the black one first, but too late now. All right, let's make sure that's dry. So we'll just bring everything back in and flip it around. My goal was to have a different set of things at the bottom. But if you wanted to go easy, you could do just like this and do the same. And if you wanted to do it different, you could do just like we did in the beginning and use, take the stamp off, use your sheet protector, and line it up where you think it would look good. The great thing is you can, if you're not sure, you can put the stamp onto your MISTI and you can put down your sheet protector and you can ink with it. Just stamp it, ink it up and stamp it, and you can move your paper around. To get it lined up exactly where you want it to be. All right. So now we are going to take our black stamped image we're going to grab the stamps that we need. You, of course, do not have to have this many blocks. In fact, you can have quite a number fewer. I am a consultant, and so I have built up this stash of blocks for classes and such, and so the best part about that is I get to use them myself. All right, we are stamping in Raspberry. And this stamp set kind of lines up ish sometimes. And we are going to rotate it and stamp again. But most of these things do not line up specifically in a direction on anything, but they were designed that way to, I'm not sure, maybe look hand painted. All right. So if you were if you did not want to do the second card, you could not worry about the farthest edges on the stamping or the coloring. The downside is if you have if you line things up slightly different than you expected, you might not get things colored in. Okay, that is all for the raspberry. For the clover, we did the rounded leaves. then for the last leaves, we did evergreen. So because we didn't turn the stamp around, we don't have this little guy here. Okay. So other than our sentiment, which we need to wait until after we die cut, we are all done with our stamping. We are going to grab the middle die cut, rectangle die cut, and we're just going to center this. If you wanted to do the telescoping card, this is kind of where it, after this is what changes. And it makes it a different card. Watercolor effect, Rhonda says. Yes. Sorry, I would skip that part, but then it wouldn't let go of the table. Grass. Okay, so we're going to be careful taking that washi off. And we will set these two aside first. We are going to, oh, this goes over there. Now we can stamp. I'm just going to use this. And I think what do you think? Happy wishes or thank you? I'm thinking happy wishes. Happy wishes. And that's the other thing to consider too, is how much space you'll have for your sentiment on when you are choosing how to lay out your flowers. Okay. Now all we have to do is glue. Alright, sorry, I'm trying to find my card bases. They were not where I thought they were. So we're going to glue both of these panels at the same time. Okay, so the good news is that by using the same image, top and bottom, you do not have a directional specific pattern. we forgot to do some stamping for the inside. I did not need this piece. Oh my goodness. What was I thinking? Alright, anyway. Some foam on here. Okay, easy peasy, peel off the backings. The harder part is going to be lining this up. So I have found, for me, it is easiest if I grab my reverse tweezers. And that way my chubby little fingers can stay out of the way. Make sure the card is opening in the right direction. And line everything up. Or hopefully line everything up. Right? Let's grab a different card base so I don't waste this one. Why? I don't know why I thought I needed that one. Okay, so even though these are stamped in the same way for the outline, the color stamping itself is slightly different. So if we do this, oh, even that leaf doesn't match up. Interesting. So you want to make sure to have this lined up. And then we're just going to flip it over and use some washi. You do not have to washi it, of course. You can just glue the frames down one at a time onto the card base. I just found this to be easier to deal with, and then I don't have to fight the glue or get out a liquid glue when I don't have to. Okay. So we're just going to center this like we normally would. Right? So pretty. And then we are going to put our foam tape on the card base. Inside the frame. And since we did this at the very beginning, it's all ready to go. Okay, and then we just line this up, and it lines up perfectly with the inside stitching. So now we have the fronts of our cards done, and we just need the inside, which is super simple. The other two pieces. And we're going to bring our Misty back in. And our linen ink. And just like we started out, we're just going to do one stamp in linen ink and only one corner. Like, that's all we're doing. Okay. So when you put this piece in with it being stamped at the corner, I always put it at the bottom. Some people will put it at the top, which could look really cool too. I just put it at the bottom. And that, my friends, says we are done. So we have our happy wishes on your day and you make me smile. We have a couple of rainbow it's your day. And some 5x7 faux oh my gosh, my brain just totally faux step card. Goodness gracious. Anyway, thank you so much for putting up with my technical difficulties earlier. I appreciate you sticking around and watching, and hopefully these cards inspire you to make your own version of them, or start with that intent and moving on to something that is completely your own. So thank you so very much for being here for my classes. I would love it if you gave me a thumbs up and shared my videos with your crafty friends. And I love to make these videos for you guys. It allows me to share how easy it is to be creative and crafty at home. So if you could, like I said, give it a thumbs up, share it with a friend, maybe even leave a comment, I would greatly appreciate that. And I will see you guys next week with 3 more free cards. See you next week.